5 years ago, Ben Better Be, an American comedian, arrived in Vietnam and he suddenly fell in love with his country. He especially loved the sincere and friendly smile of Vietnamese people. Ben decided to stay to explore this country, discover the hidden charm of Vietnamese. Despite the language barrier, Ben always loved walking in the parks, going to small Vietnamese coffee shops, or going to markets to meet up with local people. The funny accent and Vietnamese pronunciation of him made Vietnamese people grow their interest towards him and give him the smile of pleasure.
Anh chui! Anh ơi! Tôi muốn mua chui. Cái này bao nhiêu tiền?
10.000 một ký.
10.000 một ký. Cái này bao nhiêu ký?
Cân lên.
Cái đó 2.000. 2.000.
1.500.
Bao nhiêu tiền?
2.000.
Is that enough?
No, we need 5.
We need 5. Tôi cần 3 cái nữa. Cái này ngon không?
Ngon. Ngon nhiều.
Ngon bình thường.
Ngon nhiều.
Cảm ơn chui anh.
Currently, Ben Better Be is running a lot of interesting projects in Vietnam to help Vietnamese people gain more confidence in modern society. Greetings to all the viewers of Sharing Vietnam of VTC 10 at their channel. In our show today, we have a talk with an American comedian who's been living in Vietnam for 5 years, Ben Better Be. With his love for Vietnam and its people, he's done a lot of projects to help Vietnamese express themselves and bring laughter to audiences in Vietnam. Thank you for coming to our show today, Ben Better Be.
Hello Vietnam, my name's Ben Better Be.
First question, can you share with us a little bit about your first coming to Vietnam and what were your first impressions of coming here?
You know, I don't really usually get to tell this story. When I was 16 years old, I saw a movie about Vietnam, and I remember seeing the green trees and the beaches and the mountains. And I don't really know why, but I told myself in my head, one day I will go there. The first time that I ever accomplished one of those internal goals was when I got off a plane and came here to Vietnam. I flew into Hanoi and then I took a train all the way from Hanoi to Saigon. And I remember they had an open car. And I remember when I looked out to the right, I would see mountains and jungles, and then I'd look out to the left and I'd see beaches and the sea. And it was just such a beautiful country. And then on that train trip, I got to meet a lot of Vietnamese people, and they were really kind and nice. Sometimes I get to sit at a cafe and think about how lucky I am that I stayed and that this country has become my second home. And I have a lot of Vietnamese friends, and I have a life here. And I've been able to practice my art and to share what I know with other people in a way that I don't think I would be able to do anywhere else.
What do you think about Vietnamese people and what do you like most about them?
The great thing about Vietnamese people is how much flavor they have, and how Vietnamese people are so comfortable being themselves and being unique and individual. And I think that comes from a strong emphasis on acceptance of who we are as people in this country. There are so many characters. You walk down the street in Vietnam, and in 1 minute, you get to see 100 totally different people. And I've been all over the world, and I can't imagine a place where you get to meet so many unique people who are just themselves.
As a comedian coming here to build a career in Vietnam, do you have any interest in Vietnamese comedy and what do you think about it?
I lived in the countryside for a while. And when I was out there, there was a DVD shop. And I got to the owner of the DVD shop. And he took this interest in teaching me about Vietnamese culture through DVDs. And I remember that he put some comedy DVDs in there. And I got to see something I'd never seen before. I got to see these performances by these Vietnamese performers. And I know that they have been performing for generations. I have seen amazing acting here in Vietnam. I go to see plays and you can really see a level of acting that's been passed down from one generation to the next. And when I watched this one DVD, and I don't know the name of it, and I don't know who I was watching, but it was a group of performers on stage being funny, and the audience laughing so hard.
Can you tell me a bit about the differences between Vietnamese and Western comedy?
So in the West, we have stand-up comedy, and stand-up comedy is where you have one person on stage and they're talking, and they're making people laugh. So that's what I have studied, and that's what I do, and that's what I teach. Vietnamese comedy, there are lots of people on stage. The underlying comedic components are the same. Comedy is mainly about relationships between people, and there's a focus on family relationships. What's different are maybe the clothes people are wearing, or the language, or the styles, or the trends. But underneath it all, a key component to comedy is love and struggle. Let's give it up to Nguoi. Also, we have Lori. Smile, wave, clap, yell, cheer. Guys, for mine, win!
In the past 5 years, Vngncb has done a number of projects in Vietnam. Storytelling Saigon, also known as the Storytelling Project, is one of them. This project creates the opportunity for people to stand in front of others, confidently sharing his or her story. Last year, the Storytelling Project has attracted many participants, both Vietnamese and foreigners.
Well, you get the confidence of being up on stage and performing and discovering that you actually can find creative things if you let yourself do it. You also get the pleasure and teamwork of working with some very funny, friendly and really creative people.
Khi mình tham gia vào buổi storytelling này á, thì mình học thì cũng nhiều lắm. Nhưng mà nếu mà đếm chung quy ra thì có cái là giao tiếp được với người nước ngoài, rồi biết cách tạo dựng câu chuyện như thế nào, rồi cách đứng trên sân khấu làm sao.
So I'm thinking, okay, how can I get some scissors, right?
If Storytelling Saigon makes everyone comes here feels opened, Comedy Saigon makes each of them give their most genuine smile. And this is the first project that Vngncb set up when he first came to Vietnam. This group has its own specialties, especially in the style of Western-inspired comedy.
And we went to the river and we decided to go fishing.
Most recently, Vngncb released Improve Saigon, which can be considered as an open space for people to improvise on the stage.
Thì tất cả mọi hoạt động từ Vngncb nó đều là những hoạt động mà thật sự em cảm thấy vừa không những là vui nhộn mà nó còn rất là bổ ích cho, đặc biệt là với một sinh viên như em. Thì họ đến đây không những cái điều mà em muốn có nghĩa là học được sự hài hước và em có thể có cơ hội giải trí sau những giờ học và làm việc rất là căng thẳng trong cái giờ học bình thường.
What's your aim in establishing Storytelling Saigon, and what do you hope to achieve through this group?
For a while now, we've been doing Comedy Saigon and Storytelling Saigon and Improv Saigon. And with Storytelling Saigon, we like to share with Vietnamese people what we know about the underlying structure of story. So what's actually happening when you see a really good movie, the components to that. And what we like to show people is when you watch a movie sometimes, right? And then you leave the theater and you kind of think, oh, that was missing something, but you're not really sure what it was missing. So what we like to do is to help people with their stories, to show them how their stories cannot be missing those components.
How about Comedy Saigon? Have you any difficulties in establishing or trying to deliver a new concept of performing comedy to Vietnamese audience?
So when I first came to Saigon 5 years ago, there was no stand-up comedy. And I was going to all these open mics and trying to perform stand-up comedy. And people were very kind and accepting of me at first, but really they wanted to see music. And so we created Comedy Saigon so that we could have an opportunity to perform comedy in front of people. English language stand-up comedy. And I've been giving workshops in stand-up comedy now for 4 years. I've had the wonderful opportunity to teach hundreds of people how to perform stand-up comedy, and I've gotten to see people develop their stand-up comedy abilities over the years.
You've been successful with Storytelling Saigon and Comedy Saigon, but now you're coming up with a new project called Improv Saigon. So what is the difference, or what is the highlight of this show making it distinctive from the others?
Improv Saigon is more about teamwork, and it's more about working with other people on stage. And what we've been able to do with those workshops is help people trust other people. When you're doing stand-up comedy, I think the reason it's so difficult is because you're alone on stage. And I think that's why people are afraid of it. But with Improv Saigon, we have a group show, and you can be part of a team, and you can perform in front of a whole room full of people that are laughing. And if it's not just on your shoulders, right? Like, if maybe the joke's not working, someone else can come in and save you. And that's one of the best things in the world, is that you know that you're not alone.
So finally, can you tell us about your future plans?
Our future goals is that we have been working on creating lots of different stories. So our next goal is to take that out of Saigon. So we plan on taking our shows outside of the city, and we'd really like to go to the countryside. My own one-man show, Vngncb Presents Vietnam, we do here every week, but what we'd like to do is take that to different cities. And since we've created a community of other performers, the next goal is to go on the road, to go on tour. And I'd like to visit as many cities as possible and perform in as many Vietnamese cities as possible.
Thank you so much, Ben, for coming to our show. We have a lot of fun talking to you.
Thank you so much, VTC 10. I had a wonderful time. It was a great interview, and thank you so much for watching.
This is the end of our show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and see you again.